Now, Xi Jinping's bonhomie with Vladimir Putin, his recent trip to the Kremlin and his unprecedented third term as the head of China has put the Western nations in a nervy condition. China-Russia's no-limit friendship has got the world worried over the implications on the Ukraine conflict and the Taiwan conundrum. But even as diplomatic ties between Russia and China put India in a predicament, we appreciate our trade ties with Russia but despise China. It gives China more breathing space on the Taiwan front, the South China Sea and its borders with India to plan its next step ahead. But with Putin getting support and continued stalemate on the war front, how will the West react? How does this impact India? Will this get to a point of joint military expansion? Does the unprecedented third term allow the totalitarian head of China to take on the Western hegemony on his own terms? Well, for an in-depth understanding, watch the docu-series Inside the Mind of Xi, only on our application News9 Plus. We'll discuss those factors. First, here's a snippet of the episode.
The world should not be fooled by any tactical move by Russia, supported by China or any other country, to freeze the war on its own terms.
因为我们是互为最大的邻国，也是战略合作伙伴国。Во всем мире это вызывает неподдельный интерес, и мы даже немножко вам завидуем.
Very disturbing meeting of minds of Putin and Xi, and clearly a sense that they have common adversary or a set of common adversaries.
China treats trade as an arm of politics, and it can easily decide to weaponize trade against you.
What does China expect? Weaken Russia, weaken the West, and let everybody come to me, and then I'll say, yes, I'm back to being the Middle Kingdom, the master of the universe.
Nearly 70 years ago, Mao Zedong said in Moscow that there are two winds in the world, the east wind and the west wind. And the east wind is prevailing over the west wind. Now, 70 years later, Xi Jinping, the man who is aiming to be the next Mao, is walking in the same steps, cozying up to Vladimir Putin to change the heavily skewed world order.
China is in bed with Russia. China spreads Russian lies every night on TV to their own domestic audience, and every Chinese diplomatic representation spreads the Russian lies, in particular in countries along the global south. So China is pretending to be neutral, but is not. China, it might make Russia more dependent on China. All benefits to a power with hegemonic ambitions.
Whether or not China's going to become, effectively an arms supplier to that conflict, which is now reported as a possibility, even through China's diplomatic and I don't like to use the word moral, but immoral support of Russia's behaviour.
So he wants to tell his domestic audience that, look, the whole world respects me, 8 billion people are begging me to be the president of the universe, but I've not accepted because I want to help you guys. This was aimed at his domestic audience. Certainly, internationally, optically, it gives him and the world the impression that Russia and China are very thick friends.
There's a ruthlessness about the Beijing regime that we have to be realistic about. There is something about the communist regime in Beijing which
right now is quite menacing to the wider world.